Hello everyone, and welcome to this week's Additive Focus Friday edition, where I wanted to show a quick tip on how you can create a lattice topology within a part without having beams that are open. I made this blue part earlier that I wanted to show where we have open beams here. If you look at this part and I zoom in here, you'll see that we have some prongs, some open beams. Cut an eye out or cut your hand there. We don't want that to happen. So it's problematic cleaning these parts. So we want to transition them beams into other beams to make it a more smoother lattice. And to go about that, we're going to use the Lattice Commander feature. You go into your parts tree here, slide down to your Lattice Commander feature. Let me get rid of this particular part from earlier. Slide the part down to the Lattice Commander feature. And we'll go and start the process of creating the different bodies that will be listed here. And then we'll edit the component to make one part with a lattice with closed beams. We want to start the process by hollowing the part first. I'll use the default thickness here for the skins, but you can change it to the thickness that you want. And using our clip planes tool here, you can look inside of a part to just see if you've hollowed that part out or not. And as you see here, we've hollowed that out to that thickness that was input. And now we want to create the lattice topology. Going back to the original part, you want to go to volume lattice, and it's going to give you a preview here in the red of the XYZ unit size of the lattice. This is just a preview. We want to make this smaller. We also have different lattice topologies to pick from. There's over 25 of them to pick from. I'm going to pick the X lattice. I'm going to create this and make it a little smaller. The lattice in the XYZ, 10 by 10 by 15 millimeter. And we also have options for thickness of the beam. Instead of the 5 millimeter, let's go 1 millimeter and then generate this lattice. Oh, we've created this lattice. If you just select on the lattice, it turns it light blue here, and you can edit, you can delete areas just by using your left mouse button, for example, putting a box around the lattice created and hitting the delete key on your keyboard, and you can delete areas. You can also do an undo. You can select beams individually and move them, for example, or select a few beams and move them. So you have some editability by just selecting that lattice that we created, turn it light blue, hit it finish, and it'll keep your what you've changed. I'm not going to change anything on here because we have a real quick and easy way of going about closing all those lattices here. But if you remember on that bracket, I had open areas. So to open the areas on the original model, I'm going to select it, and we'll come back to the lattice there. But on the original bracket here that I hollowed, I am going to select it, and you can then select a surface, select multiple surfaces, and then using your keyboard delete key, you can leave it open. That way we'll see that lattice. We've designed for additive. We've lightweighted this bracket. Getting back here to our lattice topology that we created earlier. An easy way of going about closing these beams is a quick, easy remove open beams feature in our Lattice Commander menu. Hit generate. And now you've closed all them beams. They're all interconnected. No open beams like you saw on the blue part and when I originally started this session. Now we'll select all these parts, all these bodies, and we'll edit this component. We want to assign a role for each body. We want a trimmed for the mesh. We want the skin to be solid. We want the lattice. The first lattice I want to ignore because I made some changes to. You can also delete it here or just ignore on our role. And then we want the second one that we made changes to solid. And you always want to make sure you select Generate Part Mesh Legacy. This is very important because Legacy will keep the sharp corners on parts. Generate Part Mesh is used for parts that are more anatomically shaped, more round parts. So very important. Keep it Legacy or you're going to create a lattice that's not what you want. And you also can send it to FEA software to make a .NAS file if need be. But I'm going to do Legacy and we'll go and generate that component. And it'll put that part in our parts list. And then we can review and see that we've made a lattice topology where the beams are not open anymore. And it's done, and you want to turn off the light bulbs that show all the other parts here. Turn it blue so you can turn those off. It'll be the last part in your parts list under the tree here. Will be the part that we just have created here, and you'll see the beams are all connected. There's no open beams there. And that's just a quick tip on how to make your lattice topology where the beams are all connected.